co-chairs, Nan Faith Arnold and Chris Cavellis.
30 years ago, about 100 people came together to celebrate the first black tie dinner. Tonight, over 3,000 people are here, and we hope to distribute over $1 million to our beneficiaries.
He made personal sacrifices, and he moved people. 6 years ago, you may remember that here on this stage, you saw his steely resolve at work, and you saw the determination that he put forward in the face of insurmountable odds. He never complained. He was always willing to go the extra mile for HRC in his commitment to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell. He engaged everyday Americans and powerful politicians, and he changed hearts and minds along the way.
I saw more and more injustice visited against the LGBT community, from my fellow gay and lesbian soldiers having to serve in silence, to the passage of our own state constitutional amendment that would deny same-sex couples in Texas the right to marry. I could not resolve the sacrifice I made with the way in which my country treated me like a second-class citizen. So I set out to do my part to change that. Before I knew it, I was in D.C. testifying before Congress on a need to end Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and telling America that Eric Alva, the first American injured in the Iraq War, was a proud gay American. Since then, I have traveled all across this country telling my story, doing whatever it took to change the hearts and minds of the American people and changing the votes of members of Congress in the process. And along that way, I have had the honor and privilege of working with amazing people like all of you. So as we move beyond this historic victory, know that if you'll stay in the fight to end workplace discrimination once and for all, and you'll do what it takes to end the Discriminatory Defense of Marriage Act, if you'll help end bullying against LGBT teens once and for all, I'll stay in the fight with you, and we will finish the work of equality together.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 2011 Black Tie Media Award recipient, Jesse Tyler Ferguson.
I'm so thrilled to be receiving this amazing honor from you. In our first season, Modern Family was honored by GLSEN, which is the Gay, Lesbian, and Straight Education Network. That's a fantastic institution. And I sent out a tweet. I have a huge Twitter following, an empire, really. It's true. At Justin Tyler, follow me. I expect 3,000 more followers by the end of the day. I sent out a tweet stating that I was thrilled that we're being honored by such a fantastic institution, and someone I assume the gay persuasion responded back to me saying, enjoy the GLSEN Awards. And these are nice, but this means that you're changing the world, and we're so grateful. And, well, the thing, I thought that was nice. I did, and I thought it was a bit lofty, change the world, but okay. But then I thought about two things I constantly remind myself of. The first being, how much I wish there was a show like Modern Family on television when I was growing up, a gay, closeted kid in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And how amazing it would have been to have watched a television show with my parents and my siblings and know that the fabric of who I knew I was being well represented on TV. And I think that things would have been a lot brighter for me, knowing that I could aspire to one day be a Mitchell or to be a Cameron, and that one day I could be accepted in a world like the one that the Dumpy Pritchett's lived in. And I think it would have been so impactful to have seen two men living a life together where their sexuality was not the main event and where they dealt with questions and issues my parents and my friends also dealt with. Like, what do we do when a child starts fighting? Or how do I connect to a father who is learning to deal with tolerance? Or what do I do in the final days of my juice cleanse want to make me jump into the Pacific Ocean? exactly those questions that we all in this room have asked at one point or another. It would have been amazing to turn on a show where two people of the same gender could share a kiss, and it wouldn't be touted as the episode with the big gay kiss, but instead it would just be a moment that did not require fanfare or place center stage, or a moment where two men or women who love one another could be accepted as a special, unique, and equal part of the family.
Tell me to my heart, tell me I'm the only one. It's a really love or just a game. Tell it to my heart, sing it, baby. I'm not in rock every time. You call my name, here we go. You with me? It's never ending. As long as I see.
Every single one of you out there, particularly to those of you who are out there volunteering. That's the greatest thing you can do, and you get much more back than you ever give, I promise you. Thanks to the board of directors, to the advisory board, and to all those people who supported our nomination. We truly appreciate the honor. Thank you.
Jack is my interpreter. He's my bitch also, as well as you can see. I pay him to carry my purse. That's what I pay him for. Organization, which is very close to my heart, HRC. And every time I go to one of these kind of events, like the Black Tie Affair, or something that HRC does, I realize that you guys are the only ones who notice what I'm wearing. I mean, this girl goes through a lot of trouble to get dressed up, get my hair done, pull up my Spanx. Because you know what would happen without them. I just pop out all over the place. And I'm glad that there are a few of you that can recognize and appreciate what I have to go through. In any case, I heard that, by the way. But in any case, some of you know, and as I mentioned that I was on Celebrity Apprentice. And wasn't that a wild one? Who watched Celebrity Apprentice, by the way? I don't drink, but I think I should have taken up drinking during that show. With Gary Busey, Star Jones, and Nene Leakes in one room, no less. First of all, I would say that I was so proud that I had an opportunity to raise $1 million in one day for deaf children in developing countries. By the way, that has never, ever been reused, ever in the history of television for charity. And secondly, regardless of what happens outside of the show, whatever opinions are expressed by those associated with the show, I am reaffirming my support for the rights of the LGBT community, regardless of what who on the show says. And I believe that all of us, no matter who we are, we have a right to live and love as we see it. It's simply human decency to believe in that. Well, as a young girl, growing up deaf in the suburbs of Chicago, I learned at a very young age what an important lesson this is, that everyone deserves a right to be treated equally no matter who they are. My parents taught me that by example. Simply because I couldn't hear, no one had a right to treat me as handicapped.
Make noise on Twitter when states defeat legislation granting marriage equality. Make noise on YouTube when I hear about the epidemic of teen bullying based on views of sexual orientation. We must all make noise to our elected officials and representatives, to our friends, to our neighbors, as often and whenever we can, 24/7, about a whole host of issues and organizations that each of us are here to support tonight. We must fight every day until hate and discrimination are eliminated. It's all about intention. And by the way, speaking of intention, remember when I said that when I was young, I envisioned myself as the beautiful Marsha Brady, who just happened to be deaf as a means to go around barriers? Well, no matter how much noise I make, then and since, I've had to face another sobering reality, that my dream about being the deaf Marsha Brady is no longer true. And that's because, as a mother of 4, ages 15, 11, 9, and 7, I am, by extension, a carpool driver, a cook, a closet organizer, a mediator, pretend math whiz. And no matter how hard I try to break down the barriers, I have to face the reality that I'm no longer Marsha, but instead, I am now Alice LeMay. Goodbye, Marsha. Remember, the only barriers that are out there for all of us, whether we are black or white or deaf or hearing, gay, lesbian, transgendered, or otherwise able-bodied, are all up here in the mind. I believe that with my entire heart and soul, that we cannot let those who strive to handicap the minds of the public, and particularly our children, with prejudice, fear, and hate. Do not let them overtake us. It may be true that I cannot hear, but that's the only thing I can't do. People may think that I live in a world of silence, but silence is the last thing the world will ever hear from me. And I know that the same is true for all of you here in Dallas. Thank you so very much, and God bless.